Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Rude Awakening TV. We're going to turn down the speaker so I don't hear my echo. So welcome to the Rude Cookie Exchange. We have been waiting to do this, and we are so happy to have quite an audience watching us. And we're so happy to do this because a few reasons. This is a stretch, once again, for Rude Awakening TV. It's the first time that we've really brought in Zoom guests. So there was a learning curve, and we did it. And the best part was I immediately, within a day, had 4 guests that said, yes, I'd love to do it. And I really, really thank those 4 people. Today, though, we're going to start off with Drink O'Clock. So Mindy's in waiting. We'll get to Mindy real soon. We have to start with our Drink O'Clock. So what I have here is the ice cubes made out of coffee. And I did them better this time. I put them back in the freezer. I actually made, look at the size of this ice cube. Pure coffee. I even made it a little bit stronger. So we're going to put a little bit of the Baileys over that ice. You got to wait a minute and let it do its thing. Oops, I just spilled. Don't like spilling. We have snow in the Kawartha Lakes today, chicken soup on the stove, Christmas lights going. It's a beautiful day. And Mindy sitting in the background ready to do her Snickerdoodles cookie. So you'll see I've started making some cookies. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I'm posting some cookies. Christmas is all about cookies and treats and confections and things that our families like to do. Some of them are gross, but it's a tradition, and we add peanut butter, chocolate, whatever will rot your teeth, we do it. But some things are really, really delicious, like shortbread. And these not Snickerdoodles, these Jammy Dodgers, all of these things are delicious. So today we have Mindy Doherty Griffiths. And this is what I found out about Mindy with a little bit of research. She's an actress, an arts manager, a mom of 2, Violet 2 and Ella 6 months. So she's got new babies at home. She has performed and worked in Canada, New York, London, England, but today she is performing right here in the Rude Awakening stream. Mindy is from the GTA and has worked with Ballet Jorgen, the Harold Green Jewish Theatre, Toronto Alliance in the Performing Arts, Mass Culture, the Toronto International Film Festival. Currently, Mindy is on parental leave from her job as Public Relations Manager for Playwrights Guild of Canada. Today, Mindy will be making Snickerdoodle cookies. She says she finds baking therapeutic and a type of meditation. I think we all do that. So that's her introduction, and now we're going to switch it over to Mindy. Give a round of applause to Mindy.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Connie. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Like many of you, I love the holidays because of the food. I love baking, I love eating, and I love drinking. So I wouldn't say that I'm anywhere near a professional baker. The recipe that I have brought today is actually one from one of my favorite cookbooks. So growing up into the holidays, my aunt, it was an amazing baker, always looked forward to her cookies during the holiday season. Fast forward, when I was living in New York City, I would go to any and every bakery that I could find just to try different kinds of desserts and cupcakes. And one place I absolutely loved to go was Magnolia. So when I moved back from New York, I actually got into baking a lot more because I wasn't performing, and I was in between working regular day jobs. And so this cookbook, this baking book, just has so many great recipes that are so easy. I also would recommend, a friend of mine gave me the Happy Baker, which is fantastic. As well, when I moved to London, England, there is the Hummingbird Bakery. Their book is also really fantastic, really great recipes, super easy to do. So today I'm going to talk to you about the Snickerdoodle. So when I bake, I love that it just gets me into this zone. It's quiet. It's time for myself. I don't get that as much right now with my 2 little ones. But I love to bake, and I just love to give it away. I just think baking just makes people so happy. It puts a smile on their face. They get so excited to receive treats. But this recipe is one recipe that I will make actually just strictly for myself. I mean, I give it away as well, but I love, love, love this recipe. So Really easy to do. To begin with, you'll have 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and you put that into a bowl with 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar, really easy to find, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/4, a little one, of salt, just regular table salt. You do that, put it aside. Super easy. Next, what you would need is 1 cup of unsalted butter, which is also the equivalent to 2 sticks if you're getting the bars. Or if you just get the big block, when you turn over the block of butter, it'll tell you exactly where to cut. Super easy. You're going to throw that into your mixing bowl, which is not going in right now for me. And then you're going to add in 1.5 cups of sugar, which I already have as well. So you're going to mix that until it's nice and fluffy. Now, sometimes when I don't really have time or I'm doing a bunch of different cookie recipes to try and get gifts out to people, if my butter has been in the fridge and it's not exactly at room temperature, honestly, I'll just pop it in the microwave for like 10-15 seconds, warm it up, and then I'll pour it in. You're not really supposed to do that, but I don't actually notice a difference. So just put it in, why not? From there, once it's nice and fluffy, you're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of milk. Doesn't really specify what kind of milk. I usually use 2%. You can use whatever's in your fridge, really. 2%. If you use almond milk, I'm sure you can just, substitute if you have a dairy allergy. Shouldn't be a problem. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and you're gonna add in 2 large eggs. So once that's all creamed, what I like to do then is that it says that you can add in your dry ingredients. I always like to put a little bit in at a time to make sure that it's fully mixed in with the wet ingredients. Now, if you're not huge into baking, you don't need to have, a huge kitchen mixer. I never had a kitchen mixer until after I got married. I used to just use a spatula, which is fine, but I actually have nerve damage in both of my hands. And so it's very difficult for me to use a spatula to whisk anything anymore. So you can just get a really cheap mixer to blend everything. It does the job just as well. So you don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on equipment. You can literally just get a bowl, a measuring cup, some measuring spoons from the dollar store, and a spatula, and you're good to go. So once you have mixed everything in, you're gonna put it, I've prepared earlier, dough into your bowl. You're gonna wrap it with saran wrap, and you're gonna put it in the fridge for 2 hours. If it's under 2 hours, it's not a big deal. If it's over 2 hours, it's just basically to stiffen it up a little bit so that you can then scoop it out and put it on your tray. Now, you're gonna heat your oven to 350 degrees. And when you scoop it out, you could just use a spoon. I know that some people, or for some recipes, they use like an ice cream scoop if you really want it to look even. Sometimes, depending on how tired I am, I just take my hands and I just make a ball and flatten it out. That's about it. From there, you're going to mix 6 tablespoons of sugar mixed with 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. It's going to give you this nice, if you can see, this brownie white color. It smells really, really good. And once you've put your cookies on the sheet, you're just going to sprinkle some of that on the top. You're going to pop it in the oven for about 12 to 14 minutes. Now, depending on your oven, it may be a little bit less. For me, when I prepared some ahead of time last night, I left them in a little bit over 12 minutes, and my oven had heated up really well. So they're a little bit more brown, but in the end, you will get these delicious Snickerdoodle cookies. So they're really good. I don't know if you can see there. And of course, being the holidays, what I love about these recipes, when you have shortbread recipes or you have snickerdoodles or any sort of like plain colored cookies, you can always add in food coloring depending on that holiday, to sort of spice it up. If you are doing a basic shortbread recipe, you can add colored sprinkles on top. So it's really easy. Anyone can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Because I'm definitely not a cook and I'm not a professional baker, but they turn out really, really well. So that is my Snickerdoodle recipe. Again, I can't take credit for it. It's from Magnolia Bakery, which is such a good bakery in New York. And it's one of my favorite recipes. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mindy. Thank you so much.
Back to you.
Okay, so we're back. That was the first time, we're going to shut that down. That was the first time that Mindy has done anything like that, and she was a little nervous, but I think she did a great job. Thank you so much, Mindy, for showing us that Snickerdoodle recipe. If you'd like, you can send me that recipe, and I will post it on the Rude Awakening Instagram, and everybody can have that recipe. So we now have to call up Erin. We didn't keep Erin in the background. She's our next guest. So the next person up is Erin, and you'll see her often on the Speakeasy chat as Little Miss Erin. And she has been baking gingerbread cookies and gingerbread houses for a long time. So while we're getting Erin, I want to show you what my next project is. So I designed a chocolate sugar cookie recipe, and what I had to do is I had to pull back some of the flour because I used cocoa powder, and so you have to substitute some of the dry ingredients. So I made these chocolate sugar cookies. What I've discovered is that I still have to tweak this recipe because they still want to be a little bit on the soft side, and they're not crunchy and crisp. So, a few things I could do is I could have rolled them thinner, like a chocolate snap. I could have cooked them a little bit longer. And then I noticed with designs like the Snowflake that has sections in it, what I noticed is that these break easily. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be flooding these, and that may add some substance to this cookie. And I just made a few little ginger people. And I just made a few because that's not really something that I like to decorate. So these, they could be put together as a Oreos kind of sandwich, and I might do something in the middle of that. Now, I'm watching the monitor, and I realize that Mindy is still on.
She's not on, she's in the back.
Yeah, but you should end that.
Okay, I'm looking at.
So what I'm going to do with these, and if you've got any suggestions to do, I am going to melt some white chocolate. I'm going to dip the end, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of crushed pecans or some crushed candy cane. I thought that'd be a nice decoration. But here's what you do. Nope, that's Mindy.
Okay, just a minute. Okay.
Here's what you do. You make them the day ahead. You decorate them the next day so that they're nice and firmed up. They're not soft with the butter. Everything is solidified. Now, when you're making cookies, it's different than a cake batter. A little tip you want to do is... Hey, and there's Erin. I'll give you that tip later. All right, so we have Erin in the stream now, and oh, she's got a fireplace in the background. She's got a red sweater on. This girl is rocking it for today. So everybody in the chat knows Erin. She is one of our favorites. No matter who I talk to about Erin, they all say, oh, I love her. She's so sweet. And she really helped us a lot with, during the week, helping us work through some of our own boomer issues. And, boomers got a boom, and she was patient with us about doing that. So today, Erin is making a family traditional shortbread. It's not the kind of shortbread that is shaped through it's not the kind of shortbread that is shaped through like a press, like I do it. She does it the traditional Scottish way, where she makes it into a circular pattern, divides it. It's beautiful. So let me tell you a little bit about Erin. She's also from the GTA. She can often be seen in the Rude Awakening TV and Speakeasy TV chat as Little Miss Erin. Erin was the first person to reach out to me and agree to be a Rude guest. She can be found most weekends in her parents' kitchen, where I think she is today. I'm almost certain of it, because she tells me that her apartment kitchen is it's too small and it just doesn't give her the space that she needs to create. Erin says she enjoys baking more than cooking because she's addicted to sugar, and made sure to let me know that her sister is the artist baker and she makes beautiful gingerbread houses. From what I've seen, they're both artistic bakers, and Erin is not second to her sister. Today, Erin is making her family shortbread recipe, which isn't a normal shortbread. Her family makes this exclusively at Christmas and never any other time. Her dad taught her to make these, who learned it from his grandmother, so it's a generational recipe. She says the recipe is a combination of English and Scottish style shortbread. So we are going to turn it over to Erin, and she is going to show you how to make this family shortbread.
Hi, everyone. I'm a little nervous. I know Mindy said she was nervous, but she's a professional compared to me. So just bear with me if I forget anything. I'll just show you first what we're making. So it's going to look like this. So it's like a big round. And then my dad wants the credit. He came up with the design. So I have to say that, or he'll be mad. And then, yeah, you need like a few things that you need for the recipe to work. You need salted butter, it has to be salted. You need instant dissolving sugar, which I'll show you in a second. Oh, I have a bag. It's hard to find in the grocery store. This is called superfine sugar. If you go to Bulk Barn, you can get it, and it's called instant dissolving sugar. So that's where I get it, because I buy it in large quantities. But you can get this, I think, at Loblaws, the Atlantic brand. But it has to be super fine granulated sugar. You'll need a cake tin for the baking part, and just regular flour, regular vanilla, and then a metal bowl, which I'll show you. I guess I'll turn the camera down. Okay, so I have a metal bowl for mixing. It needs to be a metal bowl. It just works better with the butter and the flour, and you'll see it's going to be really messy. We're going to do it by hand, not in a mixer, because that's the best way to learn. That's the way I was taught. That's the way my dad was taught. That's the way my great grandmother did it. And she probably would be so upset if she saw us doing it with a mixer, because you really need to feel what it feels like to know that it's ready. So although it's simple and it doesn't have many ingredients, it can get kind of weird when you're trying to figure out the consistency at the end, and that's usually where most people get it wrong, is they don't add enough flour or they add too much flour. So every year I panic and am asking my dad every single time, like, how much flour is it? Is this the right consistency? So don't worry if you don't get it right the first time. I've been making it for 20 years and I freak out every year. So let's get started. So in my bowl, I already have a 1/4 pound of the salted butter. So like Mindy was saying, that big stick of butter you get, just cut it into 4, and you can make 4 rounds from 1 thing of butter. And then there's this super fine granulated instant dissolving sugar that you need to get. That's 3 tablespoons. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla, just any kind of vanilla. You can use like pure extract if you want, or like fancy vanilla. It will just probably make it taste better, but I like good old-fashioned artificial extract. So you're going to use your hands, and it's going to get really messy. You're going to cream the butter using your knuckles. Make sure you get all that sugar combined, and I just get right in there, mash it all up. And it's good to use room temperature butter. I like it to be a little softer. My dad would say that that might be too soft, but again, another argument at Christmas time. It's always fun. But I like it to be really soft to do most of the work for me and get all the sugar dissolved really easily. So you cream it really good, get in there, mix it really well, get it all over the sides of the bowl. So you can see it's very, very tacky and like sticky, and it's everywhere. So now we're going to start adding flour. There's no actual amount of flour. It's flour until it feels right. So as with all old-timey recipes, it's by feel. So I just add it slowly because you don't want to add all of your flour at once. It won't mix properly and you will make it too dry. because you might add too much. You can do it in a mixer, but I would suggest until you learn the feel, you do it by hand, because I always add too much flour when I do it in the mixer myself. So every year I always make a few by hand. So I'm just going to keep adding. It's going to get pasty. My sister's doing the chat for me. Yes, hands are the best. Okay, so it's starting to come off the side of the bowl. We want it so that will come off completely. So again, this is kind of like the middle phase. It's like a little bit more together. It's like sticky still. Needs lots more flour. I'm probably adding it. This is a 1/3 cup. You could do a quarter. You could probably start with half a cup until you get it right. Okay, it's coming together a bit more. You really have to work it with your hands. I'm getting it everywhere. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes, my mom's favorite is Snoopy. She loves Charlie Brown Christmas. We love Christmas in this house. The other cookies that we made this weekend were decorated gingerbread cookies. If you go on my Instagram, I posted some of them. So now it's come together in a ball, but it's still like all over my hands and still kind of stuck to the side of the bowl. So I'm going to just add a little bit to get it off my hands. And now probably because I'm talking, I'm not paying attention. Hope it comes out right. It's also like a very big deal every year. We have to taste them and we have to criticize each other. That's part of it. Part of the Christmas fun. The same as if we make Yorkshire puddings in our family. That's a very big deal. They have to be perfect. And if they don't rise, then you're not good at it. Okay, so it's still kind of stuck to my hands. It's still like really sticky, so we need more flour. And every time you add the flour, just make sure you really break it up and work it in. And all of this helps the butter to mix properly and stay warm. A warm kitchen helps. Also preheat your oven to 325. Okay. Really punching it. You can get your anger out of it. Okay, a little bit more, I think. Okay, I think it's getting there. Still a little bit on my hands, but that's just probably because I was extra messy with it. That's okay. So at this point, I like throw it around a bunch, see how it sticks. It shouldn't be like tacky. It can be a little bit still sticky from the butter. I like how this feels. And then I pat it in my hands into a ball. Try to keep it on camera. And it should have a little bit of a weight to it. If it didn't have enough flour, it would be a little too light still. But again, you won't know that unless you make it a million times. I make about 25 every Christmas. So you get, your first ones usually don't turn out exactly the way you want. And then I squish it down a little. You want it to flatten and it can crack on the edges, but you don't want it to really crack in the middle. Okay. So we're gonna take the cake pan, get that ball really good in the middle, And then you're just gonna start flattening it with my palm. I have a small hand, so mine's gonna be a little bit more lumpy. I'm using more this part of my hand than my fingers because it would leave marks everywhere. And then if it cracks a little, I just kind of do this. If you add too much flour, you can put a little bit of water, but I find that that's even harder to mix it back to the right consistency. So to try to avoid that, I would say just add flour really slowly so that you don't get to that point, because it's harder to fix more flour than less flour. Okay, so then keep flattening it so it's a nice circle. At this point, my great grandmother would just take a fork. Well, sorry, she would pinch the sides first, my bad. So we're gonna pinch the sides by taking your, I don't know if I can show this on camera, your two fingers, this is awkward, and making like little pinch marks, easier on the table. My dad calls it a snowflake design that he made. This is, I think this is a 9-inch pan, but you could use an 8-inch. It, like, the way you're gonna do it is kind of up to you. So I do it about a 1/2 inch thick, pat it down, and you can see all the space around the edges. If you had a smaller pan and you did it the same size, it would be fine. It just needs to fit in the pan. And then some people, you might just accidentally like make it a bit thinner than I do, or a bit thicker. It'll just change the cooking time. So I just pat it really nice because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. And then we're gonna take, my great grandma would just hit it with the fork all over in a random pattern. And the holes are just there to like let air in and help it cook evenly. And then you would just break it and it would just crumble into like a million pieces. So dad came up with this design, this snowflake design. So you just go in with the fork, try to line it up. My hands are shaking. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I just do like a cross first. Lining up the holes. And then I go in to divide those to make little triangles, like pizza slices. This one's a little messy because my hand is shaky. But it's okay. It'll still work. And then once you're done that, we're just going to do 2 little pokes. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then sometimes I just go back and like make sure it's like all flat and nice. So then that's what you have. A little. And then usually what I do is I make 2 and then put 2 in the oven at the same time at 325 for about, I would say, depending on your oven and the color of the pan you use, like if you have a lighter pan or a darker pan, it will change the cooking time if the thickness is different. So I'd say the first time you do it, I would put it in and maybe check it around 25 minutes, 30 minutes. They do take a while. And then you're gonna think it's done because the edges will look a little brown, it'll smell really nice, but the middle won't be done. So I would say, even though you see the edges be a little bit brown, maybe put it in for another 3 minutes. So I've had some that I've cooked like up to 40 minutes. It just depends on the temperature of your oven and how hot it gets and how evenly it cooks. And then I guess I'll show you. When it comes out of the pan, you want it to be a nice golden brown color, like on the back. So if it wasn't completely cooked, this might still be lighter. And then when you go to break it open, just not gonna break for me. Oops, didn't break anything. You'll see like the middle, it should be cooked all the way through. So if you didn't cook it long enough, the middle might still look a little bit raw. It's fine, I eat it, but you might not want to give it away that way. So yeah, those are my tips. Just gonna wipe my hands. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, so Erin, can you shut that down? I'm having a little trouble with my camera, so we are going to have to reboot our OBS. You did a fantastic job. That really, I don't know if anybody is asking you questions, but hold tight. We're going to reboot OBS and come right back.
Okay.
and gingerbread,
Yeah.
you shouldn't beat the sugar and the eggs as hard so that you reduce the air in it.
I also put it in the, after I cut out all the cookies, I put it in the fridge for like 15 minutes, and that helps a little bit. If you put it longer, I think it'll help more, but it helps stop the spread. And then there's, I think Heather said baking soda, and we use Crisco, not butter, for gingerbread.
Yes, so do I, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little different.
Okay, well, that's great. So if there's no more questions for Erin, I think we're going to thank you for being so cool and for giving us some cool factor by being part of us, because, you know, everybody knows that you're the best.
I'm not cool, don't worry.
Oh, yeah, I think you are. So thank you so much, Erin, and we'll say goodbye to you.
Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Erin. Okay, so now we're going to shut that off. Next week, we have Mr. Mark, and everybody knows him from the chat, and we have Scott, and you'll know him as Scooteron, and they are going to be our guests to continue this Rude Cookie Exchange. Now, I would like to let you think that this Rude Cookie Exchange was something I did so because it was exciting, and it's not. It's just because I don't want to cook on stream anymore for a few weeks. I really did think this was kind of fun. Now, I'm going to finish the stream off with a little bit of decorating. This is the fun part, and I'm not a decorator. I don't have any skills with a piping bag. I am going to start, and I'm going to, take some time. Now that I have that kind of time, markets are winding up. I'm going to take some time to get better with a piping bag. You'll see Bubble Bake Shop on my chat right now. She is a friend of mine who lives in Windsor. Her mom was German, or dad was German as well, and she learned a lot about cookies, but she's also an artist. So she puts those things together like Erin's sister, and when you have those two things together, the baking and the artistic ability, the visual arts background, those things come together, and I just don't have it. I'm still drawing stick men. So I've seen Liz, who's not a really avid baker, but I've seen her build gingerbread houses with students at my school, and they turn out beautiful. And it's because it's the eye, the visual ability. And I'm sure many of you would have those skills. You could buy gingerbread cookies that are not decorated, and you could do it if the baking isn't your thing. So what I'm going to do today is I have some of these stars. You've got this camera? Okay, I have some of these stars, and these are the ones I was telling you about that they didn't really firm up like a normal sugar cookie. And you see even a couple of these, there, I got it. But the tips want to break. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to put a really thin layer of fondant icing on them. Sometimes fondant can be used as a topper. It can be used as a middle. So I think so I am going to roll this out. Fondant's very forgivable. You just use a little bit of powdered sugar, a little bit of flour, and you're going to have it. For some reason, did we lose connection on Twitch?
Some,
Yeah. Are we on now?
yeah. No, Twitch, yes.
Okay.
But while we were doing a switch over, I lost
some viewers, yeah.
Not some viewers, you lost some Twitch action.
Oh, okay. So I've got it pretty thin. It's really smooth, and you're going to need a little bit of water. Then I take the same cookie cutter I used, and I do this. Now, I didn't think of something I need, and that's a little bit of water. You know what? Let's do a little bit of this white chocolate I've got ready. You just want something that's going to add a little bit of adhesive. And then I line that up. I think the water's better, the chocolate. And then, ta-da, I've got a two-tone.
Drop shadow cookies.
Yeah. If you don't line them up with the right pattern, they don't look so great. But there you go. I've got, Yeah, I've got a little bit of a cookie. Now, something else I was going to do, I make these on purpose so that I can do something that I find to be delicious. I swipe it into some white chocolate on the tip. You may have seen I did that on my gingerbread. And then I sprinkle some nuts on the top. You know, that's really a tasty cookie. Another thing, I take another one of these. I dip it in some chocolate. And this isn't everybody's favorite, but it's one of mine, is I top it with some crushed candy cane. Okay. So that's what I've got. It's a simple process, and this is the part that I really enjoy. So I'm just going to see who's still here with me. I've got Bubble Bake Shop, Garden Plaza. Yay, I didn't know you were here. Little Miss Erin's still watching. Mr. Mark, he says he's on, but I know that that is not true. He is curling right now. And somehow he managed to change his curling schedule next week so that he can be on with us. So you can see white chocolate, a little bit of crushed pecans, very nice. I don't have any more chat. The chat's still going. See what happens? Let me see. My gram used to give it a very, very light dusting of sugar. Oh, that's nice. Sugar salt? Make it like a peak-free shortbread. That's nice. Okay, so Allison, if you're here and you see that, I wish you would do this. Now, something else you can do is just plain round like that. You could put a middle and you're making yourself some kind of an Oreo cookie. No. So what I'm doing is I like this. I think this is such a nice look and it's such a nice taste because when you take this off the cookie tray, it's just a little bit of white chocolate, not full. And this is where you're just having fun. What else could I use? I could use coconut. Not everybody likes coconut, especially in my family, so I shy away from that. So I'm going to go back to, I'm just cutting a little bit of a fondant. And you got to be careful with this stuff because if your kitchen's warm, which mine isn't today, I keep it a little cool. I haven't got my oven on. I didn't bake. So hopefully you saw something. You saw something fun that Erin was doing, Mindy was doing, and perhaps you might want to. I'm putting a little water. You might want to look on my Instagram for those recipes because I'm sure Erin's going to share. I just watching her, I realized and that I can do that too. And that's what I find cooking shows to do for us. They inspire us. I like that. What else could, you could put one of those little beads in the middle. I know Bo would like that. What do cooking shows do? They inspire us. They inspire us to. I'm not playing Squid Game. I haven't brought myself to watch Squid Game yet. Every time you talk about Squid Game to somebody, their face goes like pale and they look at you like, oh, did you watch it? And I just know it's going to be like The Shining, Allison. I know it's going to haunt me for life and it's going to make me feel worse about humanity from what I've heard. And I don't need that. I don't need that. What if you dip them in Jameson and top them with whipped cream? No, we're not making creamy gentleman cookies. No, it all sounds disgusting. But hey, we do have those coffee ice cubes with the Baileys. I have to tell you, I'm not a day drink. I'm not a day drink at all. I'm not a drink. And this coffee thing. Yes, Erin is saying if anyone makes any of her shortbreads, post it on Instagram. And then tag her, and she'd love to see it. And I'm going to tell you right now, the draw for the KitchenAid is December 19th. If you do make one of those of Erin's shortbreads, you post it on Instagram, it'll put you in as another draw. Creamy gentleman, the cookie. It'll put you in as another draw for being here today. We had quite a few viewers for the guests. And next week, I want you to come back. I have to go get something. Okay, so these are the teeth breakers. Everybody knows them as teeth breakers. This, this adds just that little bit of nice. Is this one on? This little Christmas sparkle. I mean, doesn't that just... That was, what's that song called?
Dance of the Tuba Plum.
Dance of the Tuba Plum Fairy. So it was, you know, from the Nutcracker and done with tubas and overblowing. You want to hear it again? Let's hear it again. Pee Wee Herman. We found that today. We found that today, and you know, Christmas music, we're not all about it, but we are into music because we're both musicians, and we did like that a lot. Okay, okay, so you see, I'm making these beautiful, you know, you get a two-tone, you got the white on top. It's a really nice, easy way without doing the flooding. You know, you can flood it too, but I find that fondant is just such a nice, subtle flavor. It's not a buttercream, it's not a royal icing. It's just a really nice... Allison's a tuba kid. Yeah, no, Allison's not a tuba kid. Allison is a whistle. What is that? Slide whistle kid. Wow, that slide whistle. Sometimes I want to take that slide whistle and do ungainly things with it.
Whoa, that's
No, I mean, okay, let's just... I want to take the slide whistle when I'm there on the 19th, and I want to show Allison exactly what I think of that. Woo! It's a horrid sound. And I think it's a horrid sound because it reminds me of what kids would do with the recorder in the classroom. Yeah, I know. Okay, so if you've had these in your life, I don't know, again, my chat's gone. If you've had these in your life, these little beads, you know, wow, oh, wow. You know what these little beads do to your teeth. Well, you know, I'm gonna stop doing the stars, although I've got lots of stars to do. Why? Is the slide whistle like everybody's fave? Because it's not mine. It just sounds like, oh, but maybe you consider yourself a virtuoso. Yeah, I never thought of that. Maybe so. So, very dare you. Flanders, you crack me up. So I think Liz has gone. She's probably making her way over to the Speakeasy channel now. Listen, speaking of the Speakeasy channel, if you find yourself with a Friday night and you need some entertainment and there's nothing on TV always, you need to, you know, most of you here, there are a few new people here. Most of you know the Speakeasy channel on Monday nights is really good. Allison does Not On Tonight, which is on tonight. It's great, but I have to tell you about the Friday night show. That one cracks me up because it's the one where I find the whole Speakeasy crew just chills out, has fun, and entertains us in the most ridiculous ways. So on Friday night, there was a panel, and we were able to watch Oranova. If you know these people, you know these people. Let's see, there was Wigs Daddy, who I've never met before. They sound like they're hilarious people as well. And Oranova, who's that person? Oh yeah, Allison Chains, Wigs Daddy, and Fisher Price. And then, so that's great. We're playing games and we're having fun and you're laughing and it's ridiculous. It was chaos. And then in the background appears Bombay, voguing, coming home from her gig and voguing in the background. And I got to tell you, I don't know if it was put on, but they didn't. It was like pokeroo. Nobody knew that she was behind them, and she was voguing and doing some ridiculous stuff. And I was cracking up, and it just makes me laugh. Those people are funny. Yeah, my favorite show also, Flanders. Well, I don't know. The Monday night show's good. Kitty Creature on Wednesday is funny. If you like the vintage kind of video games and some good artists on the spot. Who's that person? Rob, the person who had the fuzzy hair? It's not the one that would draw on the spot. Bob Ross. Yeah, you know, Kitty Creature is like Bob Ross in drag, and creates things. Well, that unexpected surprise was the best, because I think you knew she was there, but you know, you gave away to the audience that you didn't. So Speakeasy Channel is a great place for some fun entertainment. The thing is, everyone, like my stream as well, everyone is welcome, everyone's appreciated, everyone's acknowledged in the chat. And I think Kitty sketches are so good. You're right, Papa Joe. I think that being acknowledged in the chat and being part of that community, and especially with the Speakeasy crew, they don't care that it's, you know, somebody that's Papa Joe's age and my age. They don't care. If you're there, you're having fun, you're included. And, you know, sometimes I have to nudge Allison to say hello to me because, you know, she doesn't all the time. Yeah, I know. The team is talented. I mean, Lizzie with her tech skills. Now, exciting news for Rude Awakening is that we have decided it's time, it's winter, and that's when we do our upgrades. And we have decided that we are going to upgrade our tech. And Lizzie is on the job of creating us a new build. And, you know, we're going to take this a little bit further. You know, every time we learn something, and I have to tell you that I can text Allison and I can text Bombay, I can text Liz, and I can say, we need help now. And if they're not available, maybe in 30 minutes, I'll get a response, or I'll get a response right away. And they keep helping us. And, you know, sometimes we get impatient with people who are a little bit older and a little struggling with tech, because you want to say, come on, boomers, it's right there. But they don't do that. Well, maybe they do that in private, but they don't do that to our face. And I guess that's the most important thing. We're so done with this laptop business. And maybe everybody started with that. When you're here in your family, it's so true. You know, this is, some of us, you know, we have estranged families. We have strange families and we have estranged families. And when somebody loves you back, it feels good. And we all want to belong. It's human nature. We want to belong. We want to be loved. And we find that here in this community, no matter what. And I love that. I love that a lot. So as you know, some of you have been following me, and you'll see that I'm really on this schoolyard bullying. And we've talked about this before, and I've talked in private with some of you. The schoolyard bullying, where if it's a non-diverse student body, they'll often go to calling kids gay. And so my grandson came home and he was like, they did it again. And he said, and he's having a conflict, an inner conflict, because he says, but I've got so many gay people in my life that I love. And he mentioned all these names of people that have loved him back. And he said, so I'm having a struggle with that, because they're calling me something like it's an insult. I think so. They're calling it like it's an insult, and it's not an insult. And I love all these people, and these are good people. And I told him right then and there, why do you think our life is so rich with all of the LGBTQIA people in our life? Why do you think that? Do you think we just got lucky? Do you think that we just coincidentally have all of these people in our lives? I said, no, it's because we're good people, we're safe people, and our hearts are open to all people. Those kids on the school ground are the unfortunate ones who haven't had the chance to be loved by the whole entire community. And he understood that. He understood that it's not by chance that we have become this family. It's not by chance that, you know, Bombay and Allison and I and Lizzie and Papa Joe and all of these people that are part of the Speakeasy crew are together. It's because we get each other and we are going to allow each other to be who they are. And if my grandson can be brought up with all of that, we're doing okay. So absolutely true, this. It is absolutely true that, and it took me maybe this age to find out that, I always thought, and of course we're all in the arts, and stereotypically the arts, we are a community that sticks together with the LGBTQIA being part of the majority. And so he's the one that's being brought up with the fortune of all of these people, all of these diverse people of different genders. And that's my sermon for today. So we have had a great time making cookies. We've had a great time expressing our love for one another. And I am so glad that you tuned in today. I had a really good time with Mindy and a really good time with Erin. It's a lovely life lesson, Barb. I'm glad you agree with me. And I know Barb is a teacher, and I know that she hears all of that kind of stuff going on in the schoolyard. But that's what happens in our lives. We have a lot of people who just need to be belonging, and they belong here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to finish up this mess. I'm making some soup. You're going to go about your business. I think that Lizzie, Lizzie, if you're in the chat, can you just let me know if the beading. Now, Barb and her daughter are involved in the Indigenous community. And so if you stick around at noon, you're going to see Blue Hummingbird doing some Indigenous beading. It's beautiful work. I know they follow each other on Instagram. So I don't think Liz is here, but if she is, no, I don't think so either. So she's probably on her way to the studio and, well, probably there and getting ready for Blue Hummingbird. So stick around. I'm still not at full affiliate, so I still can't raid. I can't get emojis of myself, but as we're getting close because we're doing random streams during the week. I'm going to finish baking. Please remember, you have all been entered into the KitchenAid draw. I know Barb just bought one, so she doesn't need it, but you're all entered in it just for showing up and being who you are. And next week we have another one, and on the 19th we're in Toronto to draw the KitchenAid, which is going to be a great time. And then we are planning January, February already, those cozy winter nights that we love to cook. Watch for me during the day. A morning I might pop on as a random stream. We're doing that because we're usually testing out our own skills. So have a nice Sunday. Stay safe. I know some bad weather's coming to the GTA and Windsor. Stay safe. Stay off the roads and have a nice day.